Hi, I'm Eric Siegel with ericstrains.com and welcome to episode 28 of my video train blog series. Okay, it is late December 2012 and it's just a few days before Christmas. In this blog episode, I mainly want to show you progress on the layout. I've done a lot of work on the layout since the open house back in November. Most of that work has been in the Carolina room and the Colorado room. I've made a lot of progress back there, so let's go ahead and check it all out. This is the section of the Carolina room that I've been working on recently, and if you remember a couple months ago there was nothing here except the track, and then when I made layout update number 9 back in November, I had the backdrop installed and I also had the hard shell, but there was no scenery at all. And now a month later I've got most of the rock work done and I've got the first layer of scenery down as well. Now, of course, what you're looking at is far from finished. I've said it before, but scenery is all about layers. So what you're looking at right now is the first layer of scenery. It's the grass and the rocks and the ground cover and so forth. And then over time I'll add additional layers like trees and other plants, water, animals, people, and structures until it's finally complete. Now, as I said in layout update number 9, this area right here that's not so finished is where there's going to be a waterfall and it's going to come into a little pond right here. And I had no intention of putting a pond here until I finished the hard shell and I realized that I would have space for a pond. So the water's going to come down the waterfall and come into the pond here, and then what I'm going to have is a dam right here, a small dam, and the water will go over the dam and through a tunnel under the track to a creek that'll come along this way. And then on that creek I'm going to have a mill with a water wheel and so forth. But because my layout is a contemporary layout, there really wouldn't be a working mill on a contemporary layout because nowadays you don't see a lot of working mills with water wheels. So what it's going to be is an old mill that's been converted to a bar and restaurant. And so I'll have cars out there and people eating at the restaurant, and it'll be an old mill that's just been turned into a restaurant. It should be pretty cool once it's all done. Now, the mill and the creek and the pond and the waterfall and so forth are perfect examples of the improvisation that takes place when you build a layout. You know, when I first was planning the layout, I had completely different intentions for this table, and those plans have changed over time as the layout has come together and as I've seen where things are actually going to be. And that happens when you build a layout, and a lot of times you end up coming up with ideas that are far better than the ideas you originally planned for, and this is a perfect example of that. Here we are in the Colorado room, and as you can see, there's been a lot of progress here over the last month or two. A couple months ago, there was nothing in here except the backdrops and the track, and then when I made layout update number 9 back in November, the tunnels were complete, but there was nothing on top of them, and now there's a lot more stuff to see, and it's looking pretty good, especially over here. This area is looking almost complete. It needs some trees and so forth, but it's looking pretty good. And then if we move over here, the ravine area is looking pretty good as well. And then as we get over here, you can see this part is still under construction. And of course, because I'm doing so much work, the room is a complete mess, as you can see over here. Over here, there's something I want to show you. This is an insert. And for those of you who watch my videos on a regular basis, a few blog videos ago, I showed you another insert that I created in the Carolina room. An insert is a removable section of the mountain that allows you access to the trains inside. So if I need to get to the trains inside the tunnel, I just remove this section right here, and voila, that gives me access to the tunnel and access to the trains in case they derail or something like that. And in addition, there's also lots of space in here, so if I want to, I could store miscellaneous scenery supplies or something like that inside here, and then easily conceal them by putting the insert back in place. And once it's in place, you can hardly see it. Looks pretty cool. Over here, this is another insert that I'm building for this tunnel, except this one's not complete yet. If I pull it out, you can see that it gives me access to the tunnel and access to the trains, and it also has lots of space inside for storing miscellaneous supplies. And then it pops back in, just like the other one did. So this kind of gives you a glance of what it looks like before it's finished, and then what it looks like when it is finished. It's pretty cool. If we look up on top of all this, you can see that I'm starting to play around with where I'm going to put the ON30 narrow gauge train line. And right now I'm just playing around, seeing what works and what doesn't work. I'm not exactly sure where it's going to be when it's all said and done. But this is what I've got right now. The plan at this point is to have the track come around this way, and then there'll be a small wooden trestle going across the ravine here. And then the track will continue on this way to where all these bottles are. And then there'll be another much larger trestle to carry it across this span to meet up with that track over there. And then back there, there'll be a switch, which I haven't installed yet, that'll take a line down this way on top of a section that hasn't been built yet. And on that section, I'm hoping I can squeeze in that passenger station so that the narrow gauge line will have a passenger station. And then the plan is to have a tourist passenger train run on the narrow gauge line just like they have out in Colorado these days. It should be pretty cool when it's all done. Okay, so as you can see, I've made a lot of good progress on the layout, and I'm really happy with the way the Colorado room is coming together. It's really nice to finally be in a position to where I can start playing around with those narrow gauge trains and figuring out exactly where the track's going to go and so forth. So it should be a lot of fun to watch that room develop as 2013 unfolds. Now let's talk about upcoming videos for a minute, because I do have several videos that are in production right now. The next product review video will be for the Lionel Vision Line Centipede. That video is almost done, but I've still got a little bit of work left to do on it. The Vision Line product reviews are always quite lengthy and involved because there's a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to Vision Line engines. But hopefully I will have that up on YouTube by the end of the year. And then after that, the next product review will be for MTH's latest rendition of the Blue Goose steam set. And then I've also got several other product reviews after that. I've got quite a backlog of product reviews to do, so just be patient and I'll get them out as quickly as I can. And finally, either just before or just after New Year's, I will put out Video Blog episode 29. And in that episode, I will have a year-end review of the layout's progress, and I'll also talk about some of my goals for 2013. And then I'll also do a review of the club cars that were put out for 2012 by MTH, Atlas, and Weaver. Anyway, that's about it for now. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm Eric Siegel, and I'll see you next time.